Welcome to 2021, everyone. We survived 2020, so now it's time to look ahead, hoping for the best, and count down our most anticipated movies of 2021. Let's get started! Before the countdown officially begins, thank you for being here, thank you for joining me, and if you're new here, to start off the new year, why don't you click the subscribe button if you haven't yet, because it's free, you get cookies, and you join a beautiful community that we created here, and I also have merch on TeePublic and Redbubble.com. Now before the countdown properly begins, there are a few disclaimers. Number one, this list is going to have a lot of movies that were in last year's list because 2020 was 2020. Number two, I'm not counting down movies that are coming out earlier in the year because they're counting for this Oscars race, and to me it just doesn't feel right. I'm looking properly into next year, the movies that will be considered, maybe, hopefully, for the 2022 Oscars race. Number three, A Quiet Place Part 2 is not here because I've seen it. That's all I'm going to say. The review is ready to launch whenever the film does come out. And I do have a few honorable mentions. To start us off, movies that have great directors behind it are assembling a great cast, but we know very little about it. We don't have stills, we don't have posters, we don't have trailers, and that is Bios, directed by Michael Sapochnik. I hope I'm pronouncing that right, and stars Tom Hanks, and the other one is the Elvis biopic starring Austin Butler and Tom Hanks, directed by Baz Luhrmann. Two movies with Tom Hanks, I'm just realizing that now. James Gunn's first venture into the DCEU with The Suicide Squad, which looks awesome judging by the sizzle that they shared at the DC fandom, and MCU films such as Shang-Chi, The Legend of the Ten Rings, and Spider-Man 3, a film that I get excited but immediately after I get hesitated towards, so that's why I didn't make the list. Edgar Wright's next film, Last Night in Soho, I'm super excited for. A film that made my list last year, but then it got delayed, and now it just doesn't make the list. It's Top Gun Maverick, because I cannot wait for that, but Tom Cruise will be on my list. And three movies that I should and want to be very excited about, but the video game movie stigma is a curse that exists, and the other one has just been delayed so much, I'm just starting to fear it. And those are, of course, the Mortal Kombat movie, the Uncharted movie, and The King's Man, which, I don't know, is it coming out this year? It was being delayed before the virus. And last but not least, what would be my number 11, should this be a top 15 list, is the next Disney feature, Encanto. We got a little glimpse at it at the Disney Investors Day. That's really it. We don't know anything else. So I'm sure it's going to be great. I'm really looking forward to it. There are just 10 other movies that I'm more excited about. So let's count them down. Black Widow will be the first MCU movie to hit our screens in May. Hopefully. And you bet your sweet asses I'm very excited for it because I miss MCU movies. I miss MCU movies on the big screen. WandaVision is just around the corner, then we got Loki, then we got Falcon and the Winter Soldier, which is going to tie into Black Widow, and the trailer that I've seen has looked amazing. The trailer that came out that I didn't see, other people are saying looks amazing, so I cannot wait to finally get the Black Widow movie. Hopefully. Wes Anderson should have been one of the directors we were talking about this year, if not for 2020 existing, but the French Dispatch cannot get here soon enough. I'm a huge fan of Wes Anderson and all his Wes Anderson-nisms. I love the cast assembled for this. I love the trailer. I love the look. I love his comedic tone and timing. And I love what he approaches in his films. They're all so different, so many different thematics, always different and quirky. And I love it. I love what he does. Coming in at number 8 is an animated feature, and that is Pixar's next film, Luca. I was always going to be excited for this because it's animation, it's Pixar, but after seeing their latest effort, which has been on a certain list that I just did, Soul, if you want to go check that out, I cannot be more excited for this film. It looks beautiful. Again, it's different. It looks like it's going to tug at the heartstrings, just like Pixar always does. And it has this kind of Call Me By Your Name vibe, which I don't mind, but it would be ballsy of Pixar to do so. And whether they're doing it or not, that's not going to make the movie better or worse. It's just interesting that so far that's the vibe it's giving off, and I'm certain it's going to be a great one looking back at the end of this year. Another movie that we should have already seen will be David Lowery's The Green Knight. I'm a big fan of Arthurian legends, I'm a big fan of Sir Gawain, I'm a big fan of Dev Patel, and I'm a big fan of David Lowery. He consistently makes it, or is very close to making it, to my top 10 movies of the year whenever he puts a movie out. So I cannot wait what he does with this. He's such a versatile filmmaker. He will do a ghost story and he will do a Pete's Dragon. He will do a Green Knight, and then he will go on to do Peter Pan and Wendy, which is just interesting. It always makes me look forward to his movies because I'm 1,000,000% sure it's not going to be like the last one. And this is being produced by A24, which gives it this kind of horror mythological vibe, which I will eat up. Mission Impossible is one of my favorite franchises. It just keeps getting better. But seriously, Mission Impossible 7 is a movie that is on this list mainly because of...
I'm on the phone with every studio at night!
I joke, I kid, but it is also kind of true. I cannot wait to see what they pull off in this film. We've already seen little stills and videos taken from set. They're fighting on a moving train, and there's this bridge that ends, and supposedly Tom Cruise is going to jump off it in a motorcycle, and honestly, I'll be there day one to eat my popcorn and relish in the action. Another animated feature we will be blessed with this upcoming year will be Raya and the Last Dragon in March, the best month of them all. And it will be released in theaters, hopefully wherever they are open, and on Disney Plus on Premier Access. I'm not paying those $30, but I am damn sure paying $20 to go to the theater and watching an animated feature, which I cannot wait for. It is a fantasy movie, it's got a dragon, it's exploring this area of the world that we don't see a lot in films, so I cannot wait to be immersed in this type of mythology. It has this kind of Legend of Korra vibe that I really love. I'm a huge fan of the Avatar shows, both of them. Yes, I love them both. And the very premise that they're promoting for this film just feels like it has a lot of promise to be deep and have meaningful themes and ideas that I really want to be there to explore and let them show me what they are exploring with this film. This film was a little bit higher last year on my list, but it is No Time to Die. At this point, I've booked tickets for this film 2 different times, and they were cancelled because of goddamn 2020. But I still cannot wait to see James Bond, Daniel Craig's swan song, if you will, as 007. He is my favorite Bond. I love most of his films. I'm a big fan of Casino Royale. Who isn't? My favorite Bond film of all time is Skyfall. I'm a huge fan of Spectre, and the other one we don't talk about, but this just looks sensational from beginning to end. I eat the trailers for this film up like no one else. The cast is spectacular, the set pieces look to be spectacular. Hans fucking Zimmer is scoring a James Bond film, so this was tailor-made for me to be excited for it. And just cracking into the top 3, taking No Time to Die's place from last year, is a film we haven't seen anything about. We just know the premise, we haven't had a poster, a trailer, a teaser, official stills. All we know, it's being directed by Damien Chazelle, it's starring Brad Pitt, and Margot Robbie has just replaced Emma Stone in the role for this film. And if you know me, you know I love Chazelle. But if you know me, you also know how much I adore Margot Robbie. She is my favorite actress working today. This film just keeps building anticipation for me. I cannot wait to see this. I cannot wait to see what Chazelle has to offer. I've missed his movies. I haven't seen a film of his since First Man, which was my favorite film of 2018. So whatever he's bringing onto Babylon, cannot wait to see Margot Robbie in front of the camera through his lens. And now a film that was a little lower last year, but after having seen Nomadland, Eternals is a film I cannot wait 4. As it was meant to be released in 2020, it was my most anticipated MCU film, especially because I reread the Neil Gaiman run of Eternals in the comics, which you should. It's the best run of Eternals in the comics. Go read Neil Gaiman's run of Eternals in the comics. But as I was saying, Chloe Zhao, she directed Nomadland. I cannot wait to see what she does with this sensational, jaw-dropping cast. The whole mythology of the Eternals, the cosmic side of the MCU being fully explored. This film has so much promise. It's either going to be fucking amazing or fucking disastrous. There is no in between as far as I'm concerned. And the fact that Chloe Zhao is helming it, I have full confidence in this. Cannot wait for them to give us a teaser, a trailer, an official still something, please, Kevin Feige. I know you are watching this. To the surprise of absolutely no one who follows this channel closely, who saw last year's list, and who saw my trailer reaction for this before it was delayed almost a year, Dune, directed by Denis Villeneuve, another insanely talented cast. This film, again, feels like it was very much tailor-made for me. Fantasy, sci-fi, big worlds, alien races, big tribes of people fighting other big tribes of people. A war is brewing. It looks and feels like Lord of the Rings meets Star Wars. I know people who read the book said it isn't it. The trailer makes it look like it is, so let me have my fun, okay? Some of the best actors working today are working in this film, such as Oscar Isaac, Timothy Chalamet, Zendaya, so many. Stellan Skarsgård is in this film. And they're all being helmed by one of the best directors working today in Denis Villeneuve, an ambitious, creative, imaginative filmmaker that can create big scoping sci-fi while exploring deep, compelling, significant themes and concepts in his films, and always brings out the best in the actors he works with. And that's it. Those are the 10 movies I am most anticipating seeing in 2021. I should put a card up here that says card subject to change, like it was a wrestling event or something, because who knows what's going to happen. I don't, you don't, but you know what you do know is what are your most anticipated movies of 2021. Let me know in the comments below, and thank you so much for watching. You are the best. Stay tuned for many more videos to come. This is just the start of the year. Let's start fresh. Let's start hopeful. Let's start looking ahead into 2021. Thank you so much for watching once again, and so until the next video, stay beautiful, stay geeky, but most importantly, above everything else, forever and always, love each other and love the movies.